Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm Summer Rottershot.
And I'm Raylan Lakatos. Interest rates are having major impacts on apartment sales.
And Walmart warehouse workers are being laid off.
Cameron Lee is here with your forecast, and Emmeline Perkins has your latest sports news. This is Newswatch Today.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Right now, we're going to be taking our first look at the weather. Cameron, please tell me it's going to be warmer than it was yesterday.
Well, Summer, sad to say you're probably going to have to get your coat out because we do have a cold day ahead. Right now, we've got highs around 34, but as we move later into the day, it's only going to get a little bit warmer, 58 degrees, but not enough to say you can pull your shorts back out. You'll have to keep your coat on just for today, and then hopefully it gets a little warmer later on. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. I guess we'll know more in just a little while during your full forecast.
I'm ready for the heat to come back and stay.
Amen. Amen.
The number of available jobs in the U.S. dropped in February to 9.93 million. It's the lowest number since May of 2021, according to the data released Tuesday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it's down from the revised 10.56 million for January, according to the latest job openings and labor turnover survey, or JOLTS. Economists were expecting 10.4 million available positions, according to the Refinitiv. The February JOLTS report showed the number of new hires decreased and the number of those quitting increased. The labor market has remained historically tight as the Federal Reserve works to bring down inflation through a series of interest rate hikes. On Thursday, March 30th, Evangel University lost a student in a vehicle accident. Devon King was a freshman who was involved in track and field. At the track meet after his passing, they took a moment of silence for King to run his last race by placing his jersey on the runner's block with a baton. A memorial service was held on April 5th, with chapel that morning being canceled for Evangel students so they could attend the memorial.
Walmart is laying off more than 2,000 warehouse workers. The cuts are happening in Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida, New Jersey, according to Walmart's filing with the Department of Labor. The company recently told investors to expect slower sales and profit growth in the year ahead. Walmart's core lower-income shoppers continue to be hit by inflation, which could impact sales. The retail giant is also raising its average minimum wage from $12 to $14 an hour. That could squeeze profit margins. Walmart is America's largest private employer.
Evangel University has introduced a new music event in the music department. Evangel hosted its very first voice recital Tuesday, April 4th in Evangel's very own recital hall. Within the Evangel music department, faculty member Tracy Pridger took the lead in creating this new event. This event was designed to give more opportunities for vocalists to hone in their skills with others and to showcase their talents within the department. During the event, two separate groups performed. The first group performed works by Dvorak Jacques, and the second group performed works by Finzi. Lauren Barnett describes his feelings about being able to perform with other vocalists.
I'm super excited to work with a whole bunch of great singers because everybody's just done such a great job. And I think it's a cool opportunity to kind of showcase what we have as not only the music department, but our vocal side, because I feel like it's starting to kind of branch out and not just be, oh, it's just music. No, we are all different as vocalists. We're all separate entities, and it's great and awesome to work with so many amazing people.
With such prospecting beginnings, the music department is looking to schedule this event once every semester within the near future.
The Wall Street Journal reports sales of apartment buildings were down 74% in the first quarter of the year compared to the same time last year. Citing a preliminary report by data firm CoStar Group, the paper reports investors bought up $14 billion of apartment buildings in the first quarter of 2023. That would be the biggest annual sales drop for any quarter since the subprime mortgage crisis in 2009. It would also represent the lowest quarterly sales since 2012, except for the second quarter of 2020, just after the pandemic hit. It's a sign that interest rate hikes combined with slowing rent growth and upheaval in the regional banking sector are hurting demand for multifamily buildings. The Evangel softball team has high hopes this season after a series sweep this past weekend. Reporter Cale Hines has the story.
After a runner-up finish last year in the conference tournament for the Evangel Valor softball team, they look to not only make it back to the conference tournament, but win it this time. This past weekend, the Lady Valor swept number 16 in the nation, Grandview, by scores of 8-0 and 7-0, and William Penn by two 4-3 walk-off wins to bring their season record to 20-8. After this weekend, the Lady Valor are now receiving votes in the latest NAIA softball coaches poll, making them the second team this year that has been either receiving votes or ranked for Evangel. Senior pitcher Sammy Romano tells us about this past weekend and this season's success.
So my favorite part from this past weekend, I think, would be just how much we pulled together all as a team. We finally figured out what it's like to be a true team and just always having each other back. So this season has been so successful just because we have a lot of returners and a lot of older leadership. And there were a few transfers and a couple freshmen who have really helped out.
Second-team All-Conference catcher Allie Rayleigh and honorable mention All-Conference designated player Brooke Arnold have been among those returning players Romano mentioned, as Rayleigh is hitting .472 with 5 home runs, and Arnold is hitting .402 with 2 home runs, as well as Romano bringing up the pitching staff with a minuscule 1.55 ERA.
After a hot 7-1 start in conference, the Lady Valor looked to beat Park on Friday for 2 games and CMU on Saturday for 2 games. Come support your Lady Valor softball team.
Up next, we'll be talking with Wyatt Long to learn more about the making of this semester's EU film.
This and more when we get back after this break.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
What a disaster. You're a disaster.
This is a disaster.
You can't be ready for every little disaster, but you can prepare for a big one. Make an emergency plan today.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
Activities Board has been gearing up for their biggest event of the semester. Sam Cochran has more on the story.
Evangel's Activities Board held act auditions on Tuesday of this week in the Fine Arts Building for their biggest, most anticipated event of the semester, Spring Fling. Musicians, short films, and more were a part of the auditions. Liz Burns, Activities Board Assistant Director, got to see it all.
Okay, so basically the auditions, super good. We've got a lot of musical acts. All but one is a musical act, so I'm actually pretty pumped about that. We actually have an a female vocalist for a band. She's so good. She's a Lewis Hall rep, so that's kind of cool.
Spring Fling will not only consist of music and other auditions, but will also have immersive decor, comedic sketches, and fun videos, all of which are narrated by 2 specially picked MCs. Liz Burns gives some insight.
So Spring Fling is like this big variety show that gets put on once a year. We have another one in the fall called Harvest Fest. It is a variety show, so there are acts from people on campus that come and perform. There are sketches and skits that are performed by members of AB, as well as people they bring from outside of AB. The videos are filmed, directed, edited by people on AB.
Having just seen only a few of the act auditions here in the Fine Arts Building, I can confidently say that Evangel students are in for a treat on April 15th. Reporting for Newswatch Today, I'm Sam Cochran.
Summer Roddershaw is standing by with a special guest. Summer?
Thanks, Raylan. Before we jump into this interview, let's watch the trailer for the upcoming EU film, Rose and Bougie. With me today is Wyatt Long. Wyatt is the director of this semester's EU film. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you're a senior and you've been involved in a lot of EU films so far. What are some of the different roles that you've taken on?
So my very first one I started with Isolated, which was a couple years ago, and I was an editor, a writer, and an actor in that. Then I went to If Only I Knew, which was last spring, and then I was assistant director with that and worked a little bit with audio. And then Lady Luck happened, where I got to produce and I got to audio supervise. And now we're here at director. So I've kind of hit almost every position that you can in the film, but yeah.
That's very exciting. So it's your last semester, which is also your busiest, but this is also the semester you've taken on your biggest role as director. Can you tell us a little bit about what this film is going to be about?
So the basic, I guess, premise of the film is that we wanted to do a murder mystery where a private investigator has to team up with an ex-con to solve a murder.
Okay, I'm very excited for that. You have a crew that isn't full of professionals. It's full of students who are in school. They have jobs and they have other responsibilities that they're in charge of. How does the production process look with keeping all that in mind, and how do you ensure that at the end of this semester you have a finished product?
Right, it's a fun balance because it is a learning process. And so I guess the kind of basis of it is we learn as we go, and each person kind of gets good at their job toward the end, right? Yeah. Whenever we're getting to the finished product. So as long as we can keep everybody in the room together, that's really the biggest thing. If we can all show up, we can learn together, we can get our jobs nailed down, we can get everything refined. And the more we do that over the semester, the closer we get to a finished product. That's whenever at the end of the semester, when we're starting to get to the finish line, it gets a bit busier because now everyone's in go mode because they know how to do their jobs.
Exactly, and I know just from knowing you that most of your shooting has to take place on weekends.
Yes.
And so how has it been trying to plan everything? Because, you know, it's like you're a college student. On a weekend, you want to go do something fun with your friends. And so you have this almost whole semester where people have to be there every weekend. How difficult has that been scheduling-wise?
It's difficult, and the best thing that we can do is get people that have a passion for it.
Yeah.
So whether that's actors, whether that's crew members, if you have a passion for it and you want to do it, you're going to make time for it. So that's been like, if I can, my goal as a director would be to create an environment, a set, where people would actually want to go. Because then it's a lot easier to schedule things whenever somebody wants to go to it, especially college students. So if we create that environment that's fun but still productive, we can get people to come out even whenever they might have other stuff going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. So unless somebody had their eyes closed during the entirety of the trailer, you sort of saw a familiar face, being me, which means I've got to work with you a lot over the entirety of this film. But as a director, what has it been like working with actors, and how does it go from like advising them and helping them see the story through your eyes so they execute it correctly?
Yes, I have been absolutely blessed with an amazing cast. And specifically, like David Farmer and Joaquin Lique play the two leads. You are in there. You have been good to work with, Summer. Do not stress.
Thank you, Wyatt.
But no, I've been absolutely blessed with them. And that is such a main focus of my job, is to work with them on getting the right vision. And the most important thing is clear communication with them. Because they will read the script over themselves, because we don't have a full week where we can sit down before the shoot.
Yes.
So they'll read through the script themselves, and they get a decent idea, but we have to make sure that whenever we're there on the day, we are all thinking of the same mind. We are all thinking of the same story. And we've had situations where an actor would come in and be like, oh, I read this completely differently. So as a director, I just have to make sure that we are all on the same page and we all want the same product at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, that's good, because I've read some of my lines and I'm like, oh, it's delivered this way, and you're like, no, you see it a different way. And obviously that way is better, because you know the entirety of the story and how it should be seen through the audience.
And whether it's better or not isn't necessarily what matters. It's more of just, is it consistent?
Yeah.
Because if you have things that are good and bad and inconsistent, that's harder to deal with even something that might not be the greatest, but if it's consistent, it plays better to an audience.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So your major is film.
Film and broadcast.
Film and broadcast.
Yes.
So how has working on all these different movie sets, how has that molded for you for your future jobs, your future hopeful career employments?
It has been, I would still say, and this sounds like a plug, but it's genuine, that EU Films is probably my favorite thing I've ever done at Evangel.
Sure.
And just because of the amount of learning that you do over the course of making one film the entire semester is insanity. Like, the classes are wonderful and the classes teach you a lot, but getting to work on one project for months, you learn so much more and it prepares you so much better for a career.
That's awesome. And lastly, can you tell us when and where we can watch the film?
Yes, you can watch the film on April 28th in the Barnett Recital Hall at 6 p.m. and at 8 p.m.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today with us, Wyatt. Let's go back to the desk with Raylan and Cameron.
Thanks, Summer. So Cameron, what can we expect this upcoming week after the warmer weather we've been experiencing?
I'm happy to say I think we can expect that warmer weather to stick around for another week. I'll talk more about that when we return.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
What a disaster. You're a disaster.
This is a disaster.
You can't be ready for every little disaster, but you can prepare for a big one. Make an emergency plan today.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
Evangel University has announced the director of their AG Ministry Leaders of Tomorrow project. Dr. Darren Poe, Evangel graduate of 1988, was announced as the director. The job includes overseeing the large-scale partnership between the Assemblies of God National Office and the Theological Seminary. He also will be in charge of the management, design, and deployment of the Leaders of Tomorrow project.
That's very exciting for Evangel.
Exactly. They keep moving forward and making progress, and they're just expanding in such an amazing way for the university.
Absolutely.
Cameron, what's the forecast looking like for today?
Well, Summer, our current temperatures are showing kind of a colder morning. We got roughly 34 degrees outside, but as we move into the day, it's going to warm up just a bit, reaching around 58 degrees. No, that's not the 70-degree weather we were experiencing. Hopefully that shows up later in the week. However, it is going to be a little bit warmer than it feels outside right now. And going into tonight, it's only going to cool off from there. Mostly cloudy almost all day long, but those chilly temperatures are just going to drop down even lower to a low of around 33 degrees later this evening. When we take a look at our almanac, we can see the temperature for today. We already know the 52 with the low of 33, the average temperature being around 79 degrees, and that record temperature being 88 degrees. I wish more than anything we were feeling that 79-degree weather. Sadly, we've got that 52-degree weather, but the sunset being at 7:39 p.m., so if you're expecting to see the sunset tonight, that's what time you should be looking for it, because that's when it's going to be at its best. Looking at the satellite, we can see we've got some precipitation moving over us. We can see a little bit coming across the back end of our area. However, most of it's going to be along the east coast, and it'll start to move this direction, and we can see that on the radar. As we take a look over here, we can see it moved more down through here, heading more towards that east coast area, not really touching Missouri at all. So unless we're in this far corner over here, there's not really anything too severe that we should expect in the weather. However, as we move into the temperatures, we can see 34 degrees currently. I mean, that's what we're feeling right now. It's going to warm up just a bit later into the day. For the most part, we're going to have a pretty chilly day. And we can see that East Coast movement. This is all the rain and thunderstorms. We've got some severe thunderstorms right along through here in the Texas area, almost all of it right here along the East Coast, a little bit up there in like Washington area. However, like you can see, nothing in Missouri, so we shouldn't expect any rain coming up in the week. And you can see that in the 6-day forecast when we move throughout here. We have no rain coming ahead, only some super sunny days ahead, some partially cloudy days as well. Sunday, Easter, we have our coldest day of the week, sadly, so make sure that you have clothes to prepare for that kind of weather. It's going to be a high of 59 degrees, but as we move into the next following week, we have 70, 72, 74, so some warm weather to expect as well. That's all I have for you right now. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. That cold weather on Easter is really going to mess with my outfit plans.
I know, usually you wear a dress, but it's probably going to be too cold for that. What a bummer.
I'm going to have to wear my Easter pants now.
My Easter pants. Up next, Emmeline gives us the latest in sports. We'll be right back.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help. When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
LeBron James and Tiger Woods have both been called the GOAT in their respective sports. Now we can also call them billionaires. Forbes has released its annual World Billionaires list. James and Woods are the only active athletes to ever reach the milestone. They are massively well paid, both on the court and the green, and also with endorsements. Forbes says both men have used their earnings to build impressive investment portfolios. There are also several new billionaires who own sports teams. Forbes says, though the stock market has been unstable, values and earnings in the sports world show no signs of slowing.
It is crazy to think of how much money these guys make. And it's not only because they're good at basketball or golf, but it's because brands are like paying them.
I know.
So they need to like spread some of this money out. Like I'll endorse their Gatorade if they want.
Exactly, yeah. And I heard that on this new list, Elon Musk got bumped out of the top position. I think he's second now. So it's crazy.
What is he going to do?
What is he going to do? And now Emmeline Perkins has the latest in sports.
Thanks, Raylan. Senior Audrey Accord was honored by College Insider with the Marquise Hines Award. This award is given to the individual with the most steals in a season if the player has played at least 60% of the games. Accord ended the season leading Division 1, 2, 3, and the NAIA with the most steals in the 2022-2023 season, with 111. This is 13 more than the highest in Division 1 this year. The women's golf team competed in the Argonne Invitational in the Gulf Breeze, Florida on Tuesday. The Valor placed 6th overall, led by Caitlin Swoop and Ashley White, who placed 30th with a score of 170. Other team members, Jessica Shields placed 34th with a score of 175. Susanna Blackwell placed 36th with a score of 180, and Madeline Jenkins placed 37th with a score of 185. The women's golf team competes next at the MVC Spring Invitational on Monday in Marshville, Missouri. 22-year-old Smith of the Texas Rangers had to receive a half-dozen stitches in his face after he was hit with a pitch on April 3rd in the game against the Baltimore Orioles. As a gift for being a good sport while receiving his stitches, Smith was given an adult beverage to help lift his spirits. Smith is hoping to return to the field in a week. Babe Ruth's bat that he used in the 1920-1921 season just broke a record after it was announced by Hunt Auctions that they'd be selling the bat for $1.85 million. This price is a record-breaking price for any bat ever sold. The last Babe Ruth bat was sold for $1.65 million in a private auction by Heritage Auction last August. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Emmeline. Up next, a robot that helps with chronic back pain.
And Cameron joins us for our final forecast. Stay with us.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Millions of Americans suffer from chronic back pain, and finding relief isn't always easy. A team at Mayo is studying the device they have named EMMA, which stands for Expert Manipulative Massage Automation. The device is supposed to help target non-specific lower back pain and can detect acupuncture points and deliver targeted therapy. The device was made in response to the lack of massage therapists. I find it a little concerning because we've seen it and we continue to see that they replace human jobs with robots. And I understand that there's a shortage. I still hate the replacing of human jobs.
I know. I totally agree with that. And I also think that it's weird because it's like your story said, it's not specific. And so people come in with specific issues and real humans can help them with their specific issues. The robot can't do that. And so we're still better. We're still better than robots.
We're still better, thank goodness.
Cameron, how's the weather looking for the rest of the week?
Well, I think it looks like we can expect a cooler weekend, nothing too bad, with a high of about 66 as our highest on the weekend. But as we move into the week, it's only going to warm up from there, that 70, 72, 74 degree weather that we've all been waiting for. However, Easter is going to be our chilliest day of the week with a high of around 59 degrees. So we got to make sure that we focus our clothes to be more adamant on that weather as well. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Cameron. That's all for us today. I'm Summer Ottershot.
And I'm Raylan Lakatos. This has been Newswatch Today. Please join us next week. For more about EUTV and the latest Evangel news, go to euvalormedia.com.